Do we have
Take
sound?
two. Hopefully we have sound this time. Coming from the Kia Hyundai channel, a video with a title like this, you may think to yourself, well, that's completely biased. And to that, I have to say, I don't think so. The Kia K4 is a brand new model in the Kia lineup, and quite frankly, when you compare it to all its competitors, not just on paper, in person, this vehicle is a whole lot better. Pat, what competitors am I talking about?
So we're talking about the Honda Civic, we're talking about the Toyota Corolla, and in my opinion, and believe me, I'm an expert on my opinion, this is something that you definitely have to try and compare because there's so much features for the price that if you ignore it, I think you may be making a mistake.
There you go. Now today's video is for anyone who's looking for a new vehicle, maybe looking to upgrade their previous Forte, not even the predecessor of this vehicle. This is a brand new vehicle in our lineup, or someone who just really wants to know more about cars, right, Pat?
Right.
Today we're giving you a full walkthrough, interior, exterior, everything you need to know about the brand new Kia K4. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's try this again.
All right, we're gonna start off with the exterior. And you may be wondering, where is my girl Charlotte? Why do I have Pat here with me today? Well, Charlotte is not here, but Pat is able to display the size comparison of the Kia K4 quite well. Now this vehicle in the compact segment, it's not too well known for space, size, that kind of thing, but that was until the K4. The K4 definitely expands what it means to be a compact. It's stretched to all four corners, it's longer, it's wider, and it looks a lot better than a lot of its competitors. So let's take a look. Starting off with the front end, you can see, probably catching your eye first is going to be the LEDs. Now we get an LED for every exterior light on this vehicle on the front end, so our daytime running light, which is amber, our main headlamp unit, and even our positioning lights are all going to be that beautiful high visibility LED finish. Now, cool thing about LEDs, not only do they look pretty good and they're pretty sharp, they're also going to last you a whole lot longer than a traditional bulb, so that means a little bit better held up in the long run, right, Pat?
Yeah.
You don't want to replace bulbs
You're not
that frequently.
replacing the bulbs on these.
Another thing is they look really, really good, and you do have high beam assist on this vehicle, so a very helpful function, and that is all going to be standard on the K4. The rest of the styling on this vehicle, it's fairly simple on the LX and EX models, but it still looks good, so you get this nice aluminum finish along the front end, matching perfectly with your Kia emblem right smack dab in the middle of the hood. Now the emblems on this car are also going to be a low profile finish, which I think makes this car look a lot more sleek and sporty. Lower on in this vehicle, you'll notice there's a lot of black plastic. And again, that will change on higher trim levels, but this black plastic isn't just for the looks. There's actually a lot of safety involved in the lower grille. Right in the smack dab center, or right over there, I should point to it, we have our radar plate. And that radar plate is going to be utilized for some great safety functions, namely being your smart cruise control with stop and go, a great safety function to have standard on your vehicle. Smart Cruise Control is going to slow your vehicle down and take you to a complete stop if you hit stop and go traffic, and then bring you right back up to speed again, taking a lot of stress off you as a driver, but a lot of convenience as well too. You're also going to get steering assistance and lane following assistance on this vehicle, so lane keep and follow assist. Is everything okay, Pat?
Yeah, everything's great.
Okay, you look concerned.
No, I'm going through all of the features that this car has at $23,995.
Are you amazed?
It is, it's awesome.
So it is pretty awesome. You get a lot of safety standard on this vehicle, and everything I've mentioned, again, this is the entry trim level on the K4. So it's all better from here. It just keeps going up, and you really do get a lot of bang for your buck in its entry trim. Now, here's one thing I don't like about this car. We'll take a look at the wheels. These are 16-inch steely wheelies with a cover. And to be fair, if you're comparing it to the Corolla, the Civic, or even maybe not the Elantra does get alloys, every vehicle in this class is pretty much running on steel wheels with covers on its entry trim level. The best part about wheels is they're very easy to change. You can have this as your winter tire setup if you'd like, throw a pair of winters on there and then get alloys for your regular all-season tires. It doesn't matter. You might even love this look, but it's the most controversial thing I've seen about the K4 so far. Either way, it's a great front-wheel drive vehicle with amazing fuel efficiency. It's rated at 5.8 liters per 100 kilometers on the highway, which is really good, especially considering the size of this compact. It's not exactly tiny. Now I'm going to pop the hood to show you guys what we're working with for the powertrain. There's two powertrain options for the K4. You can get it as the 2-liter naturally aspirated MPI engine, which is what we got on the LX model here today. Or if you're someone who appreciates a little bit more pep in their step, there's also the 1.6-liter turbo GDI. Now, if you're opting for the LX, this 2-liter is going to get you 147 horse with 132 pound-feet of torque. All right, let's give this a lift. You can see this is a very long, wide hood, huge space under here. So 147 horse, like I mentioned, with the 132 pound-feet of torque and that great fuel efficiency number of 5.8 liters per 100. Now this vehicle is rated at 7 liters per 100 combined, so that's a little bit more realistic, but depending on how you drive, you can see that number be a whole lot better or maybe worse. Now let's take a look at our mirrors here. We got body color mirrors. They are heated and electronically controlled with a little bit of black plastic. And then another controversial part of this vehicle. When it comes to the pillars of this vehicle, everything seems normal, fine, and dandy until you reach the back end. You'll notice that your rear doors are actually mounted into the pillar itself. I personally love this design because it does give this vehicle a lot more of a fastback-like style, so it looks pretty good and sporty, definitely different than the rest of the compacts in the segment. You'll be surprised how much space is actually back there. I know this is a big door, but big door for big space. Another thing that's quite nice about these doors, you'll notice that we have proximity entry for the front too. So driver and passenger are going to feature this little button that does a whole lot. Now that button is going to be, of course, paired with your key. So as soon as you walk up to your vehicle and you're in proximity, you can press that to unlock it, press it again to lock it, and never have to touch your key again. But you may want to touch your key in the long run because you do have remote start built onto it. And that's right, remote start on an entry trim level. The Toyota Corolla can't do that. All right, let's go to the back. Now, the back is probably my favorite part of the vehicle. It may look like it has a really short trunk, but a lot of it's an illusion because it does have a fastback style. Another way it's an illusion is because you might be concerned or think that this is glass. It's actually just a black panel, so to make the vehicle look a little bit longer, a bit sportier. When you open up the trunk, and you can do it conveniently because there is a trunk release back here, you'll see the opening may look small, but there is a ton of usable space back here. Charlotte and I actually had the great opportunity to drive this vehicle in Austin, Texas in the blistering heat. And oh my goodness, we put a lot of stuff back here, all of our filming equipment, everything we picked up along the way on the road. There's a lot of space. And comfort-wise, this vehicle is totally different than the compacts we're used to, which are pretty noisy. You pick up a lot of wind and road noise. There's definitely improved noise, vibration, and harshness dedicated in this vehicle, so a lot more sound deadening and a lot more smooth on bumps. So think even just speed bumps that you see in parking lots. It makes a big difference. All right, let me get out of the way. I'll show you another great thing about the cargo area. You'll notice that underneath our floorboard, we do have a compact spare tire. And compact segment doesn't always mean compact spare tire. It's actually something that's quite rare to see in this size of vehicle, but great peace of mind to have, especially if you are daily driving this vehicle on a highway. All right, Pat, what's the most amazing thing about the exterior design on this car for you?
Well, it's not the wheels.
It's definitely not the wheels. And hey, I agree with you on that. But like we say, it's always easy to change wheels on your car. So I'm not mad at it.
I think I like the logo.
Yes, the Kia emblem looks fantastic. The K4 emblem also looks good. I have to say though, I think it's the taillights for me. These taillights, which I realize are not on, I will turn them on in a second, but the way they expand almost entirely across the back end really widens this vehicle, giving it a lot more road presence. I'm gonna turn the lights on and the hazards, so don't you worry in just a second, but they do stop it around here, and over there it will become just regular gloss black. Okay. So we got some brake lights.
Yeah, that does look pretty cool.
Hazard lights. And do you mind showing the front end, Pat, while the hazards are on?
Yeah, absolutely.
So those amber daytime running lights, they do a great job at illuminating the front end. This vehicle has a lot of presence, especially at night too. It's just such a beautiful vehicle. It's not boring by any means. And one of my biggest issues with its competitors, aside from the Civic, I do think the Civic looks very good. The Corolla just looks so old. It looks so rental car-esque. And I know design is subjective, but let's be honest, you guys, I think we mostly agree on that. I will point out the fuel door. So the fuel door does have a release just by the driver's foot, and it's a 47-liter tank, fairly cheap to fill. I have the same size tank in my vehicle, probably about $65 if you are in Ontario, Canada. Southern Ontario, Canada. All right, I'm gonna hop in real quick and we can showcase what we're working with for interior space over here. So again, I'm not the tallest driver, and that's why we have Pat over here today. He'll give you guys a better idea what space is like up front, but you can see it's definitely a very driver-focused cabin. You have all your buttons here for quick things like brightness adjustment for your digital screens, and that's right, digital on an entry model, electronic parking brake, and your traction control. Kia did something a little bit different with their K4, putting comfort features like heated seats on the side door, something that Toyota Corolla won't get you. Now, Pat, you did some research. Where do you get heated seats in the Toyota Corolla?
Yeah, you have to move up one model, and it bumps the price $1,000.
Jeez. So I will say this vehicle is priced at $23,995 Canadian, which is a great price point. Gets you the heated seat standard, LEDs, push to start, all that stuff. The Toyota Corolla is actually a little bit cheaper than this vehicle in its entry trim level, but it's missing out on some of those luxe features that you're going to have to pay extra for anyway on that car. Let's get back to this car though. We have our window controls right over here with your window locks and your controls for your electronically controlled mirrors. Now the steering wheel is pretty funky on this car. The only thing I don't like about it is the fact that the Kia logo is off-centered, but hey, that's just me being a little crazy. On the left-hand side, you got your driver assistance, so your smart cruise control, which is adjustable. You can also adjust the following distance. Your menu display, so you can press this to change what you're viewing in your 4.2-inch digital cluster. So tire pressure, your trip odometer, and then your safety functions. The right-hand side is going to house things like your volume controls, but also your media assistance, and just allow you to flip through whatever you use mostly while you're listening to things on the road. You don't have to dig through any screens, and I think the new software on this vehicle makes it even more convenient than ever. Everything's at the touch of your fingers or at the control of your voice, which is quite nice. Do you want to join me on the passenger side, Pat?
Will do.
All right, so while Pat makes his way over, one of the standout things on this vehicle is the fact that you're getting amazing software in the entry trim level. On most manufacturers, your base model is typically going to greet you with a tiny touchscreen that has a backup camera, Bluetooth, that kind of thing. This is a full-size 12.3-inch fully digital display. It's a touchscreen, of course. Very modern software, and you'll notice the icons on this display are quite big. One of my favorite things is how easy it is to configure this. It's very similar to your phone's home screen in the sense you can just drag and place whatever's relative to you on the main screen. Everything else is really easy to navigate to, and you even have a dedicated search function. So if this is your first new car in a long time, it's really easy to find out the features that you'd like. The biggest deal though is the fact that this giant display has Android Auto and Apple CarPlay wireless. So something that we used to never see in our vehicles unless it was on a tiny, tiny screen. Our larger screens never had this as an option. You also have over-the-air software updates, so you can make sure you always have relevant info and displays on your vehicle. And like I said, it's just very easy to navigate, it's easy to use, it's fairly quick, and very customizable. Pat, is there a favorite thing you've noticed on the new CCNC? Or you don't have it in your personal vehicle?
No, I don't.
Let me just make fun of Pat for a second. Yeah. Pat owns this dealership. Pat drives a really nice car. Pat's car has a really large display. Doesn't have wireless CarPlay or Android Auto.
It does not.
He has to get an adapter to use wireless CarPlay, and they don't work so good. Now, a lot of modern vehicles are also switching to entirely touchscreen displays. Kia understands that it's really nice to have real buttons and dials, so we have actual functional buttons that you can use if you're wearing gloves or anything, located on your dash. You also have a volume dial, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And then we got air vents right underneath. Everything's laid out very logically. It just kind of makes sense. You also have your climate control right over here, so fan adjustment, front and rear defrost, your directional controls, and then your temperature controls on the far right. You can see blue for cool, red for hot. It just makes sense. Underneath that, we got a lot of options for connectivity. You can see we have 2 USB-Cs. One can do data transfer and charging, and one is just for charging. There's also a 12-volt on the right, and a lot of space in the center for putting your phone. There is a push to start right over here, and again, push to start in an entry trim level. I love it. Gear shift is a traditional style lever type gear shift, and that is tied to an IVT transmission. You'll notice, especially if you're comparing this vehicle to a lot of other vehicles in its class, namely the Corolla and the Civic, they're going to utilize a CVT. And I know a lot of people think IVT is just a gimmick on a CVT. They are mechanically different. They are. Guys, we've done a podcast episode on this. It does have a more traditional approach when it comes to feeling like it's changing gears, so your vehicle doesn't feel like it's constantly stuck in a weird RPM cycle. It feels normal. It doesn't feel like your vehicle's an elastic band that's ready to snap, and it's far more responsive. All right, let's keep rolling. We got an auto hold button here, and then our parking camera button. If you give that a press while you're stopped, it'll just give you a quick feed of whatever's in your rear view, but it'll also automatically come up the second you put your car into reverse. Your center console is a traditional style, which is covered, and we got a ton of room in our cup holder area. Good news for you if you like large water bottles, or if you're like Charlotte and like putting bugs in your car, they are adjustable style cup holders, so it'll really just switch to whatever kind of space you need at that time. And if you're not using this for drinks at all, you just have a ton of usable space over here. Do you want to show the glove box, Pat?
I'd be happy to.
while you're doing that, I'm gonna come around because I want to film you in the passenger seat.
There's the glove box.
Now, Pat, how tall are you for reference?
Okay, so like bare feet, I'm 6'1", so with shoes on, I'm probably 6'2". So headroom, yeah, there's tons. Legroom, there's tons.
And you know what the best part about your seat is?
What?
This is one of the only vehicles in its class that has height adjustment for the passenger seat. So if you prefer to sit a little lower or a little taller, you can actually change
higher.
that.
Yeah, it's comfortable. Like, I mean, it's not what you think in a compact car.
No, absolutely not.
So.
And of course, it's going to have the same seating configurations for the driver's seat as well too. So height, recline, all of that.
Okay, so I've got the front seat all the way back. So yeah, there's tons of room.
So with the front seat all the way back, you still fit.
Oh yeah, no problem.
They don't make compacts as compact as they used to.
I wouldn't sit in the middle.
No, yeah, the middle seat's always going to be the smallest seat in the house when it comes to a sedan, but I'll sit for reference for you guys. So obviously I have no issues fitting into this car. It's really, really spacious. This vehicle does have class-leading legroom. Class-leading because it's also tied with the Elantra, so Kia Hyundai Channel is winning today. We got a lot of headroom back here, lots of legroom for me. The entirety of the seat ahead of you is completely flat and easy to clean because it is plastic. And you'll notice for space savings, this actually doubles as a coat hanger or any sort of bag holder. So all your stuff will be off the floor, giving you a lot more legroom. Now, if I move to the middle seat, there is a little bit of hump in the center. We do have two USB-Cs back here, which again, pretty rare to see in an entry model. They are illuminated too for convenience at nighttime. And this vehicle, I mean, other than that, that's pretty much it for the back seats. It does not have a drop-down cup holder armrest, and it does not have rear ventilation, but you do get that on the EX model. And you do have quite a bit of air channeling through, so it's not going to be that much of an issue when it comes to ventilation back here. You'll still be able to heat up and cool down the cabin quite easily on this car. Huh. Q&A time, Pat?
I think so.
All right, I might sneeze, but
all right.
I'll take the camera from you. We've been doing it in the back seat for a little bit.
Okay.
Sorry, I know we haven't filmed in a while, but here we go. I'm sorry if I sneeze on camera, you guys. I'm not happy about it either, but okay. I wish one day they'd come with seats that hold mobile devices for passengers. Do you mean the backs of the seats over here? Like you can put your phone kind of projected onwards? I think a little bit of 3M and a phone holder or something like that could fix that, right? If it's plastic?
If you have a case, you could probably set it in there.
Yeah, a special kind of case. Don't sneeze when looking at the pricing. So should we do a recap on the pricing?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so the Civic is just shy of $28,000 in its entry trim level. And I will say, feature for feature, it's very on par with the Kia K4. It has the forward collision avoidance, it's got the smart cruise control, it's still on steel wheels with covers. It obviously looks good. I definitely prefer the look of the Civic, but it's quite a decent price difference. That's quite a big price difference.
Yeah, it's roughly $3,000 more.
Yeah, absolutely. The tech is definitely not as good as our CCNC software, so there is a little bit of a tech delay there.
Do you know why the Civic is $3,000 more?
Because the H on the front.
No, it's because they don't have EVs.
Oh, well,
and
yeah.
so they're getting, they have to pay for every vehicle. They have to buy certain credits because they don't have enough EVs.
That's some tea.
And so the last couple of years, they've had some pretty significant price increases.
But realistically, they've always been a bit more expensive than us.
They also restrict how many cars come in. Like, you know, I'm not even sure you can sell a Civic in Quebec right now.
Oh, yeah, that's...
Because it's just too expensive because of the ZEV mandates. So...
the more you know.
Anyways,
from a dealer principal.
That would be interesting.
Yeah. And then for the Corolla, any insights on the Corolla?
I mean, the Corolla is a decent built car, but it's so uninspiring. The styling is bad.
It makes a great rental car.
Yeah, makes a great rental car.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, you guys, I do like Toyota, I do like Honda, but when it comes to their compact sedans, especially in their more entry trim levels, they're just not exciting. And even if all you need is a compact vehicle, you want a car that you have emotion for, a car that you enjoy driving. And I just don't think you get a lot of bang for your buck in those cars, unless you go way up high in the trims.
So the styling looks better on our product. You get more features and we're on price. So like we know we're going to sell a lot of these next year.
Yeah.
And I'll turn the light on.
Yeah. LEDs back here.
Yeah.
In case you're wondering. Can we get a guest Honda dealer principal to get him to rap battle with Pat?
I'm trying to think who I know in the Honda world. It's a pretty good, funny question.
Pat is an excellent cameraman.
Yeah, well, you know, I may not quit my day job.
Pat is leaving his dealer principal job to become full-time Kia Hyundai channel cameraman.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
No.
Definitely not.
We need more insight from this guy.
I mean, I just had a week in California with the Kia execs, and so it's looking like next year is going to be really, really positive. We've got a bunch of new product coming out. We've got some product enhancements coming out, which you've already shown the 26 Sportage.
Yeah.
Some new EV product coming, and I think we're probably going to see some stuff at the Toronto Auto Show that you'll get to film.
Absolutely.
The best thing is way more hybrid plug-in hybrids next year.
Yes.
It's a pretty robust business plan, and so for all these people that have been trying to get one for a while and haven't been able